Welcome to Ever Living Podcast, a place where we share the voices and stories of those who work and pray to protect life here in New England and beyond. We are your ever living, life-loving hosts, Cindy
and Jessica
and Jason.
And
Jason. Welcome to Ever Living, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here, Jason. So this is going to be a show just kind of updating everybody on lots of different things going on in the pro-life movement here in New England with New Hampshire Right-to-Life and Students for Life and lots of different things. So the first thing we want to... Oh yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I was going to say last week we were all at the same place, the annual banquet. So yeah, it went really smoothly, and thankful for everyone who came to support New Hampshire Right-to-Life, and the mission to protect life in New Hampshire. So, what did you guys think of the banquet?
Well, I was blown away by the number of students that we had. I think this is the year. I don't think we've ever had this many students. I count at least 3 tables.
Yeah, 3 tables.
And those were tables that we knew about. So over 30 students.
Yeah, high school and college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe that there were 3 tables. I was expecting there only to be 2. So then when I saw that St. Anselm College sent so many students, I was impressed. I was like, wow. So that was really, really cool. It was great. It was great for me to catch up with. Yeah. It was really good for me to catch up with a lot of the students as well in my job with Students for Life, because I don't always see all of them. So it was really cool to see all of them in one place and get to interact with them. And,
what was your impression of the banquet, Jess?
Yeah, it was great. I was really glad I actually got to go this year, because last year, I don't know if you guys remember, but I was like really ill, which is the reason I couldn't go to the banquet. Like I was like coughing up a storm. So I had been planning on going and I couldn't go, and I was really disappointed. So yeah, it was awesome. It's always so beautiful to see so many people coming out to support life, and like you said, especially the students. And it was actually really funny because I wound up finding this out later. But my fiance's best friend's mom, who I've met before, she was at the banquet.
Oh wow!
But we didn't even put the pieces together. So like we've met before, but I think it was just so like maybe I was out of place for her, because like, you know, she was surprised I'd be at a New Hampshire banquet, but I was cracking up because like my face was on the screen, and like, you know, you guys like asked the students and like the student, like people who work with students to stand up, and she didn't recognize me, but we wound up finding out later because my fiance's best friend Matt, he was down in Connecticut this past weekend, and I was just talking to him. I was like, oh yeah, I was in New Hampshire this past week, and I was at the New Hampshire Right-to-Life banquet at Manchester Country Club, and he was like, I think my mom was at an event at Manchester Country Club on Thursday, and I was like, wait, and then we wound up finding out that it was the same thing. So small world.
Small circles. That's one thing you notice.
I guess your fiance has good taste in best friends and moms and similar.
Yeah. And what was even crazier was I was actually back in New Hampshire on Monday because I was meeting with some teachers from the diocese of Manchester, because they're trying to start pro-life groups. And his mom works at the school where the meeting was hosted. So I actually got to like see her again. Like she had been at the banquet, and then I saw her while I was giving this meeting at St. Catherine's. So in Manchester. So it was just funny. It's just such a small world, such small circles.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
So we have some photos to show about the raffle baskets. There were so many varieties.
Yeah, a large part thanks to this one very faithful woman who's been there just every year, putting together Dawn. We're just so grateful. And to be honest, the whole banquet is put on by volunteers. And I'm just very grateful every year to see how much time people put in. I mean, it's just amazing to see people coming together and putting on just a wonderful banquet, a wonderful dinner, and the awards and everything.
And your mom was able to attend again. And also your aunt together. So
which is a big blessing to me.
Do you want to talk about some of the awards that were awarded?
Yeah, I mean, this year was just amazing. We had.
So let's start with
Ron Bork. So Ron, I think, was the Grand Knight for the Knights of Columbus for New Hampshire. I could be wrong on that, but he was the Grand Knight for the Salem Knights, and so they've just been a faithful partner. He's written a book, and when we realized we hadn't given him an award before that, a lot of us just like together realized, oh, this is an oversight. He's been so faithful for so many years to the pro-life cause. So that was very exciting. Yeah, raising funds for ultrasounds for pregnancy centers. Right. I think he's been involved in like 10 ultrasounds, maybe 12. I said 12, yeah.
I think he said 12.
Yeah. So that was amazing. Walter, who wrote that amazing essay, he's a teenager.
He got the youth award.
He got the youth award this year.
And we'll be having him on the pod.
Yeah, I am so impressed by Walter. And I just want to say, Walter kept like, I think he donated money to the auction as well. I was so impressed by Walter. And yeah, like Cindy said, well, I think he's coming on in a few weeks to share about some of the work he's doing. So.
Yep.
Well, and Cindy, didn't you and Walter like do a kind of like a little entertainment interlude like a year or two ago?
Was it last year? We were kind of stalling for time, like during the raffle, and so I think I knew Walter did martial arts, so I asked him to showcase some of his martial art routine, and he did. And I did like the beatbox, and
I love that.
It was great fun. So
a lot of people came up to me and were like, "Wow, your wife has a lot of talent."
Yeah.
And also Walter too.
Well, this year, Walter and another young lady were doing running for the raffle. So they would run out, get the baskets, and run them back in and deliver the baskets, big baskets, and run out. I think there were like, I don't know, 30 to 40 baskets that they were carrying.
They were really nice. Like you said, like people are really generous, because I was really impressed by what was being given away in the baskets. I was like, wow, that's great. So yeah. And
there was like a bidding war for the hat.
Oh yeah, we had a Toby Mac hat and a Third Day hat.
The Toby Mac, I think, was like going back and forth up to.
Yeah, I think it went over $200, and then the signed Toby Mac hat, and then the guy who won donated it to Walter, who had been bidding on it. Which was just such a generous offer. I mean, I love seeing that kind of generosity. It's it's very humbling to see that.
It's kind of like at the baseball game where like an adult gets the ball but nicely hands it to a child or somebody.
Haven't there been some YouTube videos with the opposite happening? Like a kid catches it and then an adult runs and grabs it out of their hand. I thought I saw that on YouTube.
I'm sure there have been.
Now you can't, we've got cameras on everybody, so you can't do that at any event. So another award was the Gary Hopper award.
So Gary Hopper was a longtime representative who really stood for life, and he did it in a very persuasive manner. And he passed away the last couple of years, and so I was very happy to award that to Glenn Cordelli, representative in the New Hampshire House. He has been just very faithful in standing for life. He introduced the Safe Haven bill last year that we talked about, I think, on one of the first or second podcasts that you guys had, about the expansions of the Safe Haven, moving it to 60 days, legalizing baby boxes. And so he's just been there for a long time. So I was really happy to give it to him. And then finally, the Moffats, which are was it Joe and Madeline Moffat, who were just a very faithful pro-life couple throughout all their years, as evidenced by the fact that their daughter served, Nancy, served on the Right to Life board for a long time too. Mm-hmm. And Madeline went home to be with the Lord, I think, in this past year, and so we awarded that posthumously. But that was a recognition of just very humble, very quiet leadership for life and standing for the rights of children.
And then Nancy even provided like a lot of photos and poster boards, like honoring her parents to display at the banquet, which was really nice. Everybody could learn more about their legacy.
I think it's just so wonderful. Like there's, oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I think it's just so wonderful. Like, and I think, you know, a lot of that's the point of the podcast that we do. But like, just there's so many people that do so much work for life that sometimes you don't even hear about because they're so, you know, they're quietly maybe going to Planned Parenthood and standing out and praying, or just, you know, being just very faithful and continuing to, especially through prayer, I think, just like fighting for life. And yeah, so I think it's really beautiful that we recognize that couple because they're just two of so many people that don't always really get recognized, but are really in the fight for life.
Mm-hmm. And that ties in with our speaker because she was helped by people who cared about her and protecting her life and her child's life. So do you want to talk about our featured speaker?
Well, actually, why don't you talk about it, because you do such a good job.
Okay. So our speaker this year is Darlene Pawli. We had her on the pod a few weeks ago, but she was able to share more in detail about her life story and how she was trafficked and then kind of like kept as what she called like a house pet, but and then didn't expect to become pregnant, but did. And when she was like told by the man to you know get rid of it or take care of it, she had to like pretend she did and then escape, right?
Yeah, and she did this while a teenager, wasn't she?
Yeah, and she called like her social worker, the one person she knew was a Christian or was kind.
Yeah.
And connected her with like a was it someone's home that took care of like mothers who needed help. So but yeah, she was able to have her baby, and I think that was like 40 years ago now. So and do a lot to help other women too. So what did you remember from her talk? Jess?
Yeah. You know, I've heard Darlene's story. I think this was the third time I had heard it. But I think just like every time I hear it, it's just so powerful. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was I just think having so many students and young people in the room who maybe haven't heard a story like that before was so important, because I think just trafficking is just it's an issue that's so related to the pro-life issue and the abortion issue. But I think sometimes we don't really hear stories about that. So I'm curious. I haven't really had a chance to talk to any of the students about what they thought about her talk. But as I see them, because I'll see a lot of those students soon, I definitely want to talk to them about, you know, what did you think? Like, had you ever heard a story like that before? And yeah, I think it was definitely something that I know the first time I heard it. First time I heard Darlene's story was when we hosted my Students for Life group at UConn, hosted her as a speaker. We were connected with her through a local pregnancy center. And I always remembered her story, you know, even before. I remember when we were kind of discussing who we were going to have, the board was discussing who we were going to have this year as a speaker at the banquet. I just like automatically like remembered her story and her name because it really just stuck with me. And I think, I mean, we had her to campus like 3 or 4 years ago now, but it's just such a powerful story that I remembered a lot of the details of it because it's not really like anything you really hear a lot. So yeah.
We were at another pregnancy center banquet the next day for Real Options, and hearing like the amazing work they're doing and reaching so many women and families and children, and that all of us, we could be outside, we could see a child or like a mother or family pushing a stroller, and that could have be a life that we helped like protect, like through supporting pregnancy centers and supporting pro-life work. So yeah, sometimes you don't know directly like every impact that you could have.
Well, speaking of being involved, I think the thing that for Darlene's speech that really hit me was she said, it took one faithful person to take me in and to show me love, and that made all the difference for me. And how much whether you're taking in somebody in your home to give them shelter, or you're working with a pregnancy center, or you're working to advocate in the state house, every part matters, every part's important. So the work that you do, the work that all of the people listening do, is really important. Even if you don't see the results, God sees them, and the people who need the help see them.
To be that voice of and hands of love. And so there are some events, pro-life events that are coming up soon. Do you guys want to just share what they are?
Sure. Well, so a week from Saturday in Boston, so November 1st,
okay,
or by the time this comes out, it might be this coming Saturday, there's the Men's March in Boston. And so you might have seen this on the news last year. There, as you may expect in a place like Boston, there were counter-protesters who, I guess, dressed up as clowns. And I think there were some number of arrests, but not of the pro-life people. It was for the other side.
Okay, so what is the theme or like the goal of the Men's March? Like, what is it? Can you describe it?
So my understanding, I didn't actually go last year, but my understanding is that the goal is to call men to be men, to stand up for everybody's rights, men, women, and children, and unborn children. And the goal is to say we believe in life, and we believe in protecting life, and we believe in human rights that start in the womb. And the first part is going to be a march down Commonwealth Avenue, down to the State House, and that's supposed to be mostly men. And then at the State House, they're inviting anybody to join the crowd, so men, women, and children. And it's supposed to be a very encouraging thing. I was just talking to one of the organizers this week, and I'm just very encouraged to see it seems like they're getting really good responses.
Yeah, I know a lot of students went last year. I mean, like I'm hoping that there'll be more this year, but I know some of the students I work with, some of the college guys went last year, and remember them reporting back about it and like talking about how powerful it was, and how some people did get arrested for protesting it. But what a powerful statement they're making by men standing up for life. I think that's so important, and as they should. So yeah, that's wonderful.
And I know a lot of times the other side says, well, why should men have a say in this issue? But the fact is, like, when there's injustice anywhere, there's injustice everywhere. If children are being killed for any and every reason, then it falls on all of us in society to stand up for them, not just some people.
Exactly. It's a human rights issue. That's what I always tell students on campus especially one thing I notice when I do pro-life activism on campus, and I ask men specifically like what their thoughts are on this issue, is that they feel silenced. They feel like they can't really have an opinion on this issue because that's what they've been told. And I always say to them, I'm like, this is a human rights issue. Like, if your mother didn't choose life, if your mother could have chose to abort you and you wouldn't be here. And you're a man, but it's also, it's a human rights issue, right? It's not about whether you're male or female. It's about the fact that we're human and we all have that one thing in common. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And if you go back to slavery, I think there's a lot of parallels between slavery and the pro-life fight, because back then they were saying that certain people weren't people as well. On this very topic, that's what the slave owners said. They said, "Oh, it's our peculiar institution. Like if you're a northerner, you don't have any say because you don't live the life we live. You don't see what's going on. You don't have anything to say." And that was the argument back then, just like the same way that they're making that about babies now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so many men are affected by abortion too. I think that's the other thing is I don't think that's talked about enough as well. Like men who their girlfriends go behind their back and get an abortion and don't tell them about it. I actually encountered a man recently. I was out doing a protest in front of CVS headquarters, and this guy came up and was talking to us and basically wound up finding out that his girlfriend had an abortion, had asked a family friend to pay for it, and then never told him about it. And then 5 years later, he gets a phone call from his family friend, and they were like, when are you gonna pay us back for the abortion? And he had no idea. And that's how he found out, was through this friend calling him 5 years later. And it was just so clear when I was talking to him. And he literally just walked up to our protest and was like, "What are you guys doing?" And was just curious about what we were doing. We were protesting chemical abortion. And he was so impacted by it. And it was just, you could tell that he needed some further healing. Like it was really good for him to talk it out with us, but I was able to encourage him to go back to church and just go talk about it and go to God and heal. But it's just, there's so many men with that same story. So
grieving. I mean, these were fathers, that didn't get to meet their children, their kids. So there's pain there, and also, calling men to, courageously protect life and protect women and support women and make sacrifices that are to love another person or so.
Yeah, and I think the statistics are like 60% of women say they wouldn't have aborted had they had more support. And so, I think the man in their life many times is probably one of the most influential people, because he either has to make a decision. Am I gonna tell you I'm gonna support you, or am I gonna say, abort the baby, or oh, it's not my decision, or what? But how he reacts has a huge influence on whether that child lives. Mm-hmm. And so Absolutely. Men really do need to be men.
Okay, so that's November 1st. What about January?
So that's November 1st. Also, themensmarch.com, I think, is the website. I'm just double checking. Yep, themensmarch.com. So check that out.
It's a peaceful march, and they can wear suits.
Yeah, it's a peaceful march. They like to dress up, but if you don't have a suit ready, go anyway. It's okay. It'd be better to have you out there than not have you out there. Mm-hmm. And then New Hampshire's March for Life is coming up on January 10th. So we're very happy to announce that. I've been to many of them, and these are just the best people that are willing to turn out on a January day,
snowing
in New Hampshire,
icy.
And we've had the whole gamut. We've had icy, snowy, and then we've had
very hot.
There was one year I think we had to cancel it because it was like a high of 5 degrees or something, or 0, and we were concerned. But most years, it's somewhere between 20 or 30 and 60.
Yeah. And it's a short walk. It doesn't take long.
Yes, it's a short walk. We are cognizant that it's outside, and so we keep the speeches short. That way.
So we meet at the State House, or before that, there's
There's a pro-life mass. There's a memorial service at the Concord landfill where the bodies of some children were found in prior years, and so we honor them by having a mass or a memorial service there.
And we meet at the State House, and there's some speakers, and people can bring their own signs, or we distribute, pre-made signs. Love them both, and choose life, love life, and so we walk together down. Is it Main Street?
Yeah, down Main Street. Yeah,
towards we usually walk past abortion center.
Yeah, we pray, and we have a coffin to memorialize the children whose lives were lost there.
Yeah, and then we gather at a church for a nice hot lunch that's homemade, and another speaker.
I'm really excited about the speaker we have this year. She's a national expert on abortion and the feminism movement, and so she's going to tell us the other side of the story that you may not hear through the media and those types of outlets. So I'm really excited about it this year.
That originally feminism didn't include abortion, and that it was supportive of mothers and children. And,
right. Yeah.
With the part of the gift that women can have to bear children and raise them and stuff.
And that's actually the natural, a woman's body is the natural course of events is to raise the child, not to end the child's life when she becomes pregnant. And even people like Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, said things like abortion is murder. Like she wouldn't actually, that was not actually something she considered. It's pretty amazing if you go back, like we've been sold a different narrative, I think, than if you actually read the original sources. So I'm really excited about having her as a speaker. And so that's going to be January 10th, Saturday at the New Hampshire State House. If you're not on our mailing list, just join. If you join, we'll be sending you updates, and then we'll have that up on the website pretty soon too.
Cool. So with the time remaining, Jess, are there any Students for Life updates or what's happening there?
Yeah. So one thing I'll share, and I think this is just it's always nice. I know we were talking about how we don't always see the fruits of our labor, and sometimes we're just planting seeds and we'll never see what happens. But occasionally you get like a really, just encouraging fruit, right? Something that actually that happens that really just is really awesome. So I do want to share that yesterday, one of our regional coordinators actually had a baby save. So she had been on campus on October 14th at a community college, and she was recruiting for Students for Life. She was trying to start a Students for Life club there, I believe, or I think she may have actually been collaborating with a Turning Point group, but doing Students for Life recruitment. And this girl came up and just asked about what the table was, and she wound up signing up. She wound up giving her contact to the regional coordinator to sign up for Students for Life's emails. And I guess she was a little shy in the moment to tell our regional coordinator that she was pregnant, but she wound up bumping into her later and was able to share with her that she was pregnant and she was considering abortion, and she didn't know what to do. She really didn't want to have an abortion, but she felt like she couldn't go through with the pregnancy. And our regional coordinator stayed in touch with this girl, and she was able to give her resources. So she gave her a Standing With You brochure, which is our initiative that connects people to their local pregnancy center. And she was able to look up where the local pregnancy center was and help this girl make an appointment at the pregnancy center. And as of yesterday, she officially chose, she had an ultrasound, and she officially chose to keep her baby. So, yeah. So,
have some
it's a very exciting story.
That's amazing, Jessica. I actually, so I don't know if I have all the details, but I actually just heard that some faithful people who were praying as part of 40 Days for Life here in New Hampshire, they were out there praying on the sidewalk. They see a couple walk out, and they just say, "Hey, can we help you with anything?" And the woman responds, I was actually here to get an abortion, but I got off the table and I had to, I have a daughter at home and now I'm going to have a second.
Oh,
wow. Praise God.
It's just amazing. So a little baby girl's life was rescued. Thanks to the prayers and the presence of some faithful pro-lifers. So it's just so encouraging to hear these things, because a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with the law and stuff, it's kind of abstract. But then when you hear about actual lives, about people like little boys and little girls who are walking around today because of the work of people in the pro-life movement, like those are actual lives that you can see that are saved. So it's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
And families that are amazing. Created or grown, like, that's a great blessing too.
Or even like Darlene, our speaker's daughter, right? Like her life was rescued because of the kindness of a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And anything else to share? Anything else?
I think that's I mean, those are the big things. New Hampshire Right-to-Life has its annual meeting coming up on November, is it 15th? It's a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So email's going to go out about that. So make sure you're on our email list.
Okay.
So you get that.
Okay, I'll share a life scripture today. It's from Ecclesiastes 11:5. As you do not know the way, the spirit comes to the bones in the womb of a woman with child. So you do not know the work of God who makes everything. So I chose that because it emphasizes that we don't fully understand how God sends the spirit into the bones of a child in the woman's womb. It's like a mystery. It's a spectacular miracle. And then since we don't know that, we can say that we don't know the work of God who makes everything. That's so interesting. That was the example of how we fully don't understand everything God does as the creator of everything. We can't even fully comprehend, the amazing way that he does send spirit into the life, of a child, of an unborn child. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great verse. There's so many verses that are just so pro-life. I think it's if you're ever doubting why we're pro-life, it's read the Bible. there's just so, I feel like we could have a different verse for forever. So it's awesome. It's wonderful. So yeah.
All right, everyone. That's our discussion update episode.
May you be richly blessed, and may God bless you with life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Sure. And we'll be back next week with another special interview. So see you then, everybody. Enjoy some apple cider donuts and apple cider.
Yeah, I might go. You now you got me in the mood for it. I might go actually have apple cider in, so I might go make myself a cup of hot apple cider after this. So yeah, awesome. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ever Living Podcast, a podcast by New Hampshire Right-to-Life, New Hampshire's oldest and most active pro-life organization. You can learn more about our work and learn how to get involved at www.nhrtl.org. If you would like to donate to our mission, you can make a donation at www.nhrtl.org/donate. See you next week. May God bless you and be very near to you, and may you be ever living.